Well, it's great to have David Allan back on the Breeding to Win show once again. And David, you've been responsible for sourcing 100 mares here in South Africa. Tell us, how's that going?
Well, it's going very nicely. Yes, it's just over. We've just passed the century, just over 100. About a third of those are for South African clients who ask me to buy them mares here or there. About a third are for ourselves. That means my wife and I. We've invested for us very heavily in breeding in South Africa and are enjoying it. And about a third are in support of particular stallions, in other words, bought for the purpose of supporting new stallions.
And where are these broodmares based?
Well, the largest number are on Gemerenade stud near Hermanus. That's where most of our own are, not all of them, and some of the managed mares. But otherwise, of course, those that I'm not managing hands-on are all over the country.
With the rand the way it is, and it has weakened quite substantially, I mean, is it still viable for South Africans to buy broodmares overseas?
Yes, it's a matter of budget. The fact that we're doing it, I mean, maybe I'd like to be doing more of it, because I think a lot of people have gone into their shell because of the currency, which is understandable. But the fact that we're still doing it successfully shows it can be done. At recent sales, there's a July sales at Tattersalls. I managed to find a Dubawi filly out of an Argentinian champion, brand new, for 400,000 rand. Another daughter of a champion for 200,000, and a beautiful 10-year-old Baron mare who's already the dam of winners for just over 100,000 rand. Obviously, there are additional expenses, but it's certainly not prohibitive in terms of the quality of the blood that's available.
Do you buy mares for Northern Time South African people?
Sometimes. Obviously, that introduces a complication because there is the Northern Time foal, but that can be turned into a benefit. About half of the mares that I've bought that are in foal Northern Time, and admittedly that was quite some time ago because the South African state vet has made it a lot more difficult to bring in pregnant mares now in terms of the timing of the pregnancy and the flights and the quarantine and all that kind of thing. They've come straight to South Africa. The Northern Time foal is produced here and is an extra horse to have on the farm, and either perhaps to sell or perhaps to race in support. But the other way, which if you like is what we focus on doing now, is to buy mares in foal Northern Time, take the Northern Time foal in the UK or Ireland, and then put the mare back in foal pretty soon afterwards, Southern Time, sell the foal in the foal sales, which will maybe even pay for the mare, but will certainly defray expenditure, and then take the pregnant mare south to South Africa. It's a slightly unusual concept, I think, for us in South Africa, because we don't have the foal sales, which are really the engine room of the bloodstock market in the Northern Hemisphere. They're very professional, and one can get very good money for foals.
Now, I'm going to throw this at you because I've got a feeling that you could be working on this. Are you looking to have a foal sale?
It is something that I would very much like to be involved in. Okay. Because any producer of any product fundamentally would like to sell that product as soon as possible to generate cash flow and to defray risk. Now, obviously, there's a massive tradition in selling yearlings, as there is in every bloodstock country. But the option to sell foals, as a breeder in the UK and Ireland, and as a breeding manager for people, we always sell foals. One of the facets of it is that the foal averages and medians for a particular stallion are very often similar to the averages and medians for the yearling.
Where does the value lie? At which sale, Tattersalls or Goffs?
Bit of both. The real value is in Goffs. It's a much smaller catalogue, but there will be something there, and there isn't the same pressure of buyers at that particular. So Goffs is a marvellous sales company, and Irish Thoroughbred Marketing do wonders, especially for bringing people in for the yearling sales, not only for Goffs but for Tattersalls Ireland as well. But there isn't quite the same pressure, and so you can find a nugget, maybe one or two, not much more. Tattersalls, you're talking major world broodmare sale, and there is always something to find. But the way that we can buy for South Africa and make it work is obviously not to buy the obvious mare. It is perfectly workable to buy Baron mares, or of course fillies, but fillies off the track, if they've got nice pedigrees, very often will be expensive. But a barren mare, providing you can research, do the work, find out why she's barren and be pretty sure why, it's fine, because you can then put her in foal southern time, whether you do that up there or down here.
How do you find South Africans in relation to international bloodstock buyers?
Not enough of them. It's a question of approach. The way that it works best is a collaboration, and I do a lot of work with Ascot Stud, which is an absolutely marvelous experience and has been going on for a long time. And that's a wonderful collaboration because they will have a clear view of the sort of thing that they want and make suggestions and what do you think and please knock it out if it's going to make too much money. And I will bounce suggestions back. And that applies to a few other clients here as well.
David, how's your record in South Africa at the moment?
It's, of course, impossible to measure immediately, but the one measure that I can give you, two measures, I suppose, of the 103, as it is, mares that we've sourced, 65 of those, I have checked, 65 of those have had runners, and they are the dams of 77 winners of 121 races in South Africa, with a fair smattering of feature and black type. Not a lot, because we're buying at a budget, and we're trying to develop these mares, and a lot of them are still very young, so that's like their first and second foals. And then 30-something, 38 I think it is, have not had a chance to have a runner yet, so they are the X factor. But that's where we are. Every mare that I own or hands-on manage for an overseas investor or connected with the stallion, every one that we have at the moment that has had a runner has had a first foal winner. That's a mix of luck, obviously, and of training skill. Whoever's trained the horse to win. But it's also something to do with background research on the matings. We use a particular system which is not a stallion nix, click on a computer kind of thing. It's researching going way, way, way back, the passage of X chromosomes. In other words, reinforcing female lines. And some people would just call it a version of line breeding. That's fine. It's not magic. But on the whole, it gets decent results. Or it helps get us decent results.
Well, that's a great record, David. So on behalf of the Breeding to Win team, we wish you all the very best and look forward to chatting to you again in the near future.
Julie, thank you very much indeed.